Hello there, and welcome to my first attempt at a podcast. I always like to experiment, try different things, and I thought this would be an interesting way of doing reviews of new releases. So I thought I've decided to start with two films in an oddly similar way in how they pay homage to classic silent cinema. First off, Martin Scorsese's new film, Hugo. Hugo tells the story of an orphan, played by Asa Butterfield, who lives in a train station in Paris, and while winding the clocks of the train station, is trying to fix this automaton to try and figure out a message left by his father. Here's a clip.
What does he do?
He's a wind-up figure, like a music box. This is the most complicated one I've ever seen, by far. See, this one can write. Magicians used machines like this when I was a boy. Some walked, some danced, some sang, but the secret was always in the clockwork. Look at that.
Can we fix him?
Of course we can fix him.
That's Jude Law there playing his deceased father. So, on his way to figure out this mystery, he meets this young girl played by Chloe Moretz, and they try to figure it out, and it somehow connects with her godfather, played by Ben Kingsley. Now, this is a wonderful film. I mean, it's Scorsese, and while it is different from his usual fare, it's a family film, after all, it still has his fingerprints all over it, because the first half is a very Dickensian adventure, and then in the second half of the film, it turns into this tribute to classic, silent, early cinema, and essentially becomes about the importance of film preservation, and who better than Scorsese to make a film about that topic. And what makes it work is that it just keeps you enraptured in this world. You kind of get involved in the mystery surrounding this automaton, and it helps that the two child actors, Asa Butterfield and Chloe Moretz, are very good, but really, in a way, the heart of the picture is Ben Kingsley, who gives a terrific performance as George Millet, and just how he grows. I mean, in the beginning you think I was just a stubborn old man, but then as we see more of him, as the mystery unravels, you really get to know him, and it's a wonderful performance by a man who thinks the world just doesn't care about him anymore, and it is a wonderful performance. Of course, 3D should be mentioned. This film was actually shot in 3D, conceived in 3D, and really, it's kind of a natural leap for Scorsese, because I've never seen a Scorsese film that is poorly shot. All his films, like, he really knows how to use the frame, how to move the camera along, and he uses 3D to an incredible effect, not just immersively, but in having the audience be in the same shoes as the early cinema-going audience. They mention a couple times the famous story about the audience running away from the train heading towards them on the screen because they thought they were going to get run over. And Scorsese recreates that experience for us with the 3D. And, if you see it in 2D, that's fine, but watching it in 3D is the full experience of this film. And as well, I think, even if you haven't studied early cinema, I mean, I find silent cinema fascinating, so this is right up my alley. But even if you aren't familiar with it, this is a really great introduction to that, and I hope what the film does as well is introduce young audiences to early cinema, have them explore the work of George Millet, and then have them jump to Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton and those great artists. So, what else to say? It is a wonderful film. Do check it out. It's doing okay at the box office. It's getting a lot of Oscar buzz, and it is a wonderful film. It's definitely one of Scorsese's top works. And who knows? He's now made the jump to family films. Maybe he'll do an animated film next. It's possible. Now, the other film I'm going to talk about today is The Artist, which is a silent film. a 98% silent film with the intertitles. It's in black and white. It's shot in Academy ratio. So the director, Michel Hazanavicius, I probably pronounced that incorrectly, he really worked hard to get it in the style of those classic films. But he does not just rely on the style. He isn't like, well, silent film, you haven't seen these in a while, and then just leaves it at that. No, the story is fascinating and very appropriate. The film is the story about a big silent film star named George Valentin, who's played by Jean Dujardin, and he is struggling with the new entrance of talkies and sound cinema, and he just does not want to make the leap to it. It's made even harder by the fact that a girl who he helped get a job at the studio is now a big star with talkies. And you see him really struggle with it and just, how do I cope with this new technology? And it's a great story because that is actually what happened to silent film stars at the time. When talkies first came about, they worried, people are going to hear my voice, they might not like me as much. You know, people had that worry. Greta Garbo famously wasn't sure she could make the transition to talkies, and then when she spoke in Grand Hotel, she still became a box office star. And it is just a wonderful film. It's incredibly charming. I mean, the director really understood the charm and the appeal of silent films, and just really does a great job of even keeping the pace of silent films. And it's just, I'm a huge fan of silent cinema. Chaplin is my favorite director. So, like Hugo, this is right up my alley. And I just really, really, really loved it. It is definitely going to be in my at least top 5 of the year. You know, if I don't see anything better, it's going to be my number 1. Because it is a charming film. I would not mind if this won Best Picture. Apparently it's the front runner, and I would be all over that. Check it out. It will be expanding around Christmas time. So when it does, do try and seek it out. It's a film that I think, like Hugo, deserves to be seen on the big screen. It really is deserving of that experience. And, you know, just seeing a film like this nowadays, being made now, is great. And I hope we see more silent films in the future. I really do. It is a wonderful film. I would have played you a clip, but you would have just heard the score. Seriously, it's really terrific and a wonderful experience. Okay, that was my first time to podcast. Give me your thoughts in the comment section. You know, give me areas of improvement where I can get better, and yeah, I'll see you next time.